All right, well, welcome back. Hopefully you just finished watching my last update video where I talked about kind of the basis of the car and what's kind of going on here. This video is going to be talking about Factory 5, their use of these aluminum panels here, and some of the modifications I had to do in order to make this all work. So I'm going to start at the back. Back in the back here, so we've got a couple batteries hanging out in a bracket that I custom built for them. Normally that's where the transaxle would sit. But up front here we've got these panels here. So this one had to be modified. It normally goes over and straight down to be like sort of an internal engine bay, we'll call it, panel. No room for it here. Did have to make a modification to the top. And then here, this guy had to be modified. The drive unit kind of sits out in this area here. So had to quote unquote clearance it a little bit, but nothing too crazy. So that this stuff back here wasn't too bad. These two panels here look like kind of big fins. They'll connect to the rest of the pieces once the body is on, but they're in place now because the suspension is going to bolt up there shortly, actually. Moving forward, this is where it gets a little crazy. So moving forward, we've got some of the cockpit stuff. So there is a battery right there, kind of in the middle here. Because that was about the last place I could find to put it, it had to sit at kind of a funky angle a little bit. And to do so, this panel here had to be bowed out. Also because of it, the AC system, which you can see back here, had to be pushed about 6 inches towards the passenger side. So because of that, these no longer fit together. I'm going to be cutting this here. There's a coolant hose that has to run in that spot. So I'm going to be cutting that panel to allow for that. And then I'm going to be 3D printing a piece to go to bridge the gap there and to allow the heater outlet here from the AC system, or actually AC, I guess technically, the floor exit. And then of course, because of this being further this direction, everything down in here had to be modified as well. Not crazy, just a lot of like thought went into it. A couple other things. Normally the e-brake, emergency brake handle, would go right here. I'm going to talk about brakes in the next video and explain why there's no emergency brake handle there. Moving forward, this top panel I had originally planned to have the DC to DC converter, so the 12 volt outlet charger basically for the 12 volt battery was going to go there. There's not a whole lot of room there actually, so it's going to be moved to this, behind this panel between the two seats. Up further forward, we've got some of the AC stuff down in there. Again, everything in that area was custom. This panel behind the radiator, custom fit. And then over here, these two panels had to be pushed to the side towards the driver's side a little bit, again to make room for that battery. All of these panels, so they come this bare aluminum, and to kind of, it makes a lot of noise. So instead of just, throwing them in place, they're aluminum, so it's not like they're gonna rust, but instead of just throwing them in place, I've decided to coat all of them in this stuff over here. So, and this is my area I've been doing this in. Stuff, heat shield products, they call it DB skin. There's couple other companies like Lizard Skin, that sort of thing. So it keeps some of the heat out, and then it also adds a little bit of mass to the aluminum panel, so it's not quite as loud. It doesn't rattle. So what I do basically is I do 2 coats of this stuff. I just roll it on and then paint with the brush in the smaller areas. 2 coats on either side. And then to give it a little water resistance, coat it in this 2K clear. Stuff works well. It's a 2-part clear, so it kind of sets up just like a factory or like a regular like body shop type clear would. Anyway, so then all of the panels, they're all riveted in place. So you can see these rivets here. I use black stainless rivets for anything that's not going to get covered or might be visible. And then like in here in the interior stuff that's going to be covered with additional sound dampening and carpet and stuff like that. It's just like the plain aluminum colored rivets. Also on top of riveting, every panel, let's see if I can find one, I guess here, so you can see every panel is seam sealed. So every panel is not only riveted, but it's also glued in order to hopefully prevent like water intrusion and also dampen some noise, because again, these aluminum panels can be quite noisy. Different sound here than this would be. So anyways, that's it for the panels update. Next video is going to be talking about the brakes. So again, subscribe, follow me towards the next video, and we're going to talk about these guys right here.